Welcome back to the podcast where we discuss anything and everything, especially when it comes to travel. Let's dive in. So, do you know that you, as an American citizen, that you can travel to 184 countries around the world without a visa or visa on arrival? And at times you can stay up to 30 days before you can apply for a visa. So, what are you doing at home? Why are you not taking advantage of these opportunities to learn new things, to experience new culture, try new food, test your language skills, meet new people, and come to understand that the world is a small place beyond our imagination? And I know that you can do that. And I hope after you're done listening to this podcast that you will rethink your life and think about how can you take advantage of these opportunities as an American to explore, to be free, finally, away from all this jumble mumble. I know you can. So let's dive into them. So here are the 6 do's and don'ts. But first, I will start with the dudes. So before traveling overseas, one of the do's is important. It's very important to do research and understand the local custom, culture, and laws of the country you're visiting as an American. So it's very important to do your research. Not everywhere overseas is like home. So you cannot go to, let's say, Mexico and think the and think the local custom and culture are the same. Every country has its own unique custom and culture. So you as an American, your duty as a traveler is to research constantly. Research is to constantly research the country in which you're traveling. Okay? It's very important to understand the customs and traditions of countries before you go. Not knowing those things, simple things that will not get you in trouble in America will get you in trouble overseas. For example, in Thailand, you cannot disrespect their money, especially with a king's face on it. When I was in Thailand, I did not know that. I got to know that when I got to Thailand because I didn't do my research. Okay? So it's very important to do your research as a traveler. It's very important to always do your research as a traveler, especially as an American traveler, because what works in America does not work overseas. So doing your research and try to understand the local customs, culture, and laws of the country you're visiting is very important because our laws are a lot different when it comes to human interactions and stuff like that. What laws that work in America usually does not work overseas. For some countries, like for example, here at home in America, we believe in women's rights. At least we have tried to push that envelope a little bit, right? But in some countries overseas, women's are looked at as objects. So there are no rights for those women. So you cannot go to those countries and try to preach or impose our value or systems on the people. Okay, so it's very important for you to do your research as a traveler. So that's one of the do's. Always do your research and try to understand local custom, cultures, and laws of where you're visiting. It's very important because if you don't understand the custom or a culture or the laws of the country you're visiting, you're usually going to get in trouble, and you don't want that. You know what I mean? You don't want to be in a country that you've planned for weeks or months, and now you're there. And being that you're lost, you don't understand the custom, the traditions, all the laws of the country, and you start doing things out of the ordinary. You start applying your day-to-day activities, the things you do in America, overseas. It don't work that way. That's how people get in trouble because taking your custom and imposing it on other people to look at you weird, like, what is this guy doing? Right? So it's very important as a traveler. One of the first do's is to do your research, and try to understand the custom and traditions of where you're going, and especially understanding the laws of the country will save you from a lot of troubles. Okay? Understanding the laws of the country will save you from a lot of troubles. Because what works in America, the laws we have here at home, does not apply overseas. All right? So that's one of the do's. Do carry identification documents such as your passport, visa, and travel insurance information. So it's always good as a traveler. You might be dumb without carrying your passport. So it's always good to have your passport on you. Even if you get to the country, me as a traveler, what I do, even if I get to the country, I never leave my passport back in the hotel. No, I always travel with my passport everywhere when I'm in the country. I don't leave it in my suitcase. I don't leave my passport anywhere. I keep my passport on me at all times when I'm overseas. I do that because things might happen, and they might ask you, where you from? And being American, you have to identify yourself. And that's how they're going to reach out to the embassy, right? If things happen, they'll call your embassy. So it's always good to have your identification on you, your passport. So one of the do's, always do carry your passport at all times as an American when you're overseas. So let's go to do's number 3. Do notify your bank and credit card companies about your travel plans to avoid any issues with your card while abroad. So I always do this. When I'm going overseas, I make sure I tell Belco, because I bank with Belco. I make sure I tell my bank. I'll be like, hey, I'm going to Costa Rica for a couple of weeks, or I'm going to the Philippines for a whole month, or I'm going to Mexico for a whole month. In case you see a charge from overseas, it's me that's using my card. Because if you don't let your bank know that you're in this country, or you're going to be staying in this country for this length of time, you're going to be using your card at this length of time, you cannot use your card overseas. They're going to ban it, because they're going to think that someone is trying to steal from you. Okay, so they're going to shut your card down, and when you come back to the United States, you have to apply for a new card. So do's number 3, when you're going overseas, make sure that you let your bank know. And you got to also let them know the date and time that you're going to be staying in that country. If you're going to be there from the 1st to the 18th, tell them I'll be there from the 1st to the 18th, and I'll be using my card in the country while I'm there. Here's what you need to tell your bank when you're leaving and when you'll be back. It's very important. For example, when could be, I'm leaving the 1st. When you'll be back, the 13th. That way, your bank understand that you will be out of the country at this date and time, and you'll be using your card at this date and time. It's very important. Most people don't know these things. They go overseas and they start tripping. Okay, when the bank just shut their card down and start tripping. I have a lot of money on my card. Why is my card not working? It's always important before you leave the country to let your bank know where you're going, how long will be your stay, and how long you're going to be using your card during your stay. It's very important. So let's go to another do's. Do's number 4. Do learn a few basic phrases in the local language. Okay, let me go back. Do learn a few basic phrases in the local language to communicate with the locals. So, do's number 4. It's always important to at least learn the language, or at least learn a couple of sentences in the language to be able to communicate. When you go into foreign countries, you don't just go to those countries and expect that everybody to know English. No, that's so American, dude. That is so American. You can't just go to overseas countries and expect that everybody should speak English and understand you. No. A great traveler is one that try to immerse themselves into the culture. How can you do that? One is at least to try to understand the language. For example, if you're going down to Mexico, try to learn Spanish. Learn few phrases in Spanish. Okay? One thing I learned when I was in Mexico is that American phones like T-Mobile, it works in Mexico as long you let your uh, your phone company knows that you're going to be overseas. So everywhere you're roaming, your internet is on, right? So another thing that can help you in places like Mexico or Belize, where I've been, or Costa Rica, where I've been, is that when you turn on roaming, you can use Google and put in the words, right? Spanish words or English to Spanish translation and be able to communicate that way. Or without you looking like a novice or like a not knowing what you're doing, it's really important to learn, at least learn a couple of sentences in the language. You know what I mean? Like in Mexico, hola, mi nombre es Enrique. You know what I mean? Just a little start of a conversation. That way you can be able to get by easily, okay? Learn a couple of words in the language. For example, if you go to the Philippines, kamusta ka na? You know what I mean? Learn the language. You go to France, bonjour, je m'appelle Henri, et vous? It's very important to learn the language if you're going overseas. Don't go overseas as an American and expect for everyone to understand you. That's so American, dude. Stay away from that. As a traveler, be a learner. As a traveler, be a consumer. Be curious about everything, and dive yourself into the culture being humble. Don't go up there and be a stuck-up person and expect for everyone to get your attitude or get you. No, that's not how the world works. And you as a traveler, your duty is to be free-spirited, not going overseas and acting like you're better than the people. In order for you to be free-spirited as a traveler, you must be willing to dive yourself into the culture. How can you dive yourself into culture? Learn a couple of phrases in the language in the country where you'll be visiting. Okay? It's very important to learn a couple of phrases in the language. Communication create connection. Without communication, there is no connection as a traveler. So you as a traveler, your duty is to communicate. Your duty is to be free. Your duty is to learn as you go. Okay? So just learn a few words in, like, for example, in Mexico, you're in Mexico, Costa Rica, in Spanish, will help you get by. And that's how you connect. Communication is the key, y'all. You know what I mean? It's the greatest means to success in the world. Not just for travelers, but for everyone. It's very important. So you as a traveler, dues number 4, learn a couple of phrases in the language of the country you'll be staying. You can't go there and expect the people to get you. If you're going to Italy, learn Italiano. If you're going to Spain, learn Spanish. At least know a couple of phrases in Spanish. If you're going to England, learn something because English is not as broad to overseas. American English is far different than British English. The British spell certain words different, and the British say certain things different. Learn just the jargons, like what they say differently. For example, the British say flats. In America, we say apartments. So if you're in London, if they say flats, you know what you're saying. Then you know what you're talking about. You know what I mean? You're not there like lost, okay? So let's go to dues number 5. Dues number 5. Do respect the local customs, traditions, including dress codes, and appropriate behavior in relations of sacred sites. I'll go back to dues number 5. Do respect the local customs and traditions, including dress codes and appropriate behavior in religious or sacred sites. Okay? In the Far East, there are traditions and customs that you need to respect. You can't go to the Far East. In some places in the East, East Asia, like Asia, I call it the Far East. You can't go, like some places in the Far East, you can't go there and be all selfie-like. Hey, look at me, y'all. Taking pictures everywhere, you know what I mean? Some temples are sacred, especially in Thailand. They have like 30,000 temples in Thailand. They're called Wats, okay, in Thailand. You can't go in certain Wats and start taking pictures, okay? You have to respect the custom and tradition in those countries. Okay, asking questions before taking action is very important. Okay, when I go to Thailand, I ask, is it necessary to take picture? Is it okay to take picture? You got to ask people. You know what I mean? A lot of folks don't know this. They go overseas, they think that everywhere is like America, so people have to pull up with the attitude instead of them adapting to the people's tradition. If people have to pull up with the attitude, then you're a bad traveler. Like, for example, I say it like this: if you go into someone's country, it's like you're going to their home. Okay, you got to respect everything that's in your home, everything about their home that make their home special. You got to respect that. You, as a traveler, your duty is to connect, not isolate yourself. Travelers should connect, not isolate. Isolations create dysfunction, especially you as a traveler. You as a traveler should be able to connect with people. You can only connect when you understand the local customs, traditions, and sometimes dress codes. Certain places in Asia, there are dress codes. You can't just go in there looking like, hey, you know what I mean? Looking any kind of way. There are dress codes in some places overseas. You know what I mean? Thailand, some places in the Philippines, some places in Europe, there are dress codes in certain places. You can't just go there looking any kind of way. Okay? So that's dues number 5. Do respect the local custom and traditions, including dress codes and appropriate behavior in religious sites. Okay? You cannot go to the Buddha temple and disrespect the monk and start yelling in the temple. Ah, look at me. I'm here, guys. Look. Oh, my God. Look at this. Oh, my God. You can't do that overseas. Your goal as a content creator or travel influencer is to be able to absorb what's around you. Pay attention to what's around you. When you pay attention, that's how you capture good stories. But you're just into yourself, into your own world, then learning would be impossible. In order for you to learn, you must be free-spirited and be willing to adapt to different customs and traditions. That's how you can be able to capture unique stories as a content creator. That's what I do when I go overseas. I don't be like, hey, yo, I'm in Thailand. I'm in the Watts. Look at me, brother. I'm in the Watts. Look at me. Look at this monk with his bald head. You can't do that. Can't do that. So dues number 6. Let's go to dues number 6. Dues number 6. Let's pull it up. Dues number 6. So do be aware of your surroundings and take precautions to ensure your safety. So everywhere overseas is not as bad as compared to what the media makes you to think that, oh, this place is bad. Be careful of this area. Okay. But it's very important to be cautious of your surrounding. It's very important to take precautions. You know what I mean? You can't go overseas and be flashing. Okay. You got to be very cautious of your surroundings. Okay. So that's the do's. Be cautious of your surroundings. Now let's focus on the don'ts. Things you should not do as an American traveler overseas. Here are the don'ts. Don't display excessive wealth or valuable belongings that may attract unwanted attention. Okay? So displaying excessive wealth or valuable belongings, that's what leads to all these crimes with folks overseas, because people would go overseas and forget themselves and start bragging how they're better than the people in the country where they're visiting. You can't do that. You can't go overseas and try and start degrading the people that live there and say, hey, oh, I'm American. We're wealthy, man. Look at me, man. Look at my bling, man. This stuff costs your entire house, man. You know what I mean? You can't do that. Going overseas to belittle the people, that's the most worst things you can ever do. That makes you a bad traveler. And it gives our country, United States, a bad rep. You cannot go overseas and just start misbehaving. Okay? So do not display excessive wealth or valuable belongings. Okay? People know stuff overseas. People are not blind. The world is a global village, giving this idea of Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. The world is a global village. We're interconnected then apart. People knows what Louis Vuitton looks like. People knows what Rolls-Royce look like. People are interconnected more than they are apart. So you cannot go overseas. This is the don'ts. Don't display excessive wealth or valuable belongings when you're overseas. That will get you robbed, especially in countries known for extreme violence. It will get you robbed. Okay, can't go overseas and start bragging and belittling people. I have more money than you. My one watch, this watch, is your entire yearly salary. Can't do that. And if you're doing that, what's the value of going overseas? What is the essence of going overseas? Is you going there to show off or going there to learn? The greatest thing about travel is that it should help kill ignorance. Ignorance separates us as beings. Okay, connections is important. So in order for you to feel safe, do not display excessive wealth, okay, or valuable belongings overseas. Don't do that. It will get you robbed. Don'ts number 2, don't engage in illegal activities or violate any local laws or regulations. For the guys who go overseas, like Thailand, Philippines, and other places, right? The passport bro, right? Going over to those countries and violating the women and using them as an object. You can't do that, okay? You can't do that. That will put you away, okay? It might be, oh yeah, we're having fun here and there, but if these women, let's say they get mad or they get drunk, something happened, they can lie on you. And that's how you could ruin your entire trip overseas because you're participating in illegal activities. It's not bad to fall in love with a girl from online, right? It's not bad. But going and participating in sex tourism, that's a no-no. Okay, that's illegal. Even here in America, it's illegal. You can't, the U.S. embassy will not give you visa to come over here to participate in sex tourism. It's illegal. So what would make any American in their sound mind to go to Thailand and participate in sex tourism? Is it because in Thailand, I'm not going to get there. I'm not going to go and get there, but it's very illegal to engage. But I'll say, illegal activities will put you away. Illegal activities is not just sex tourism, right? Disrespecting the country's religion, that's illegal. Okay, in some countries, especially Thailand, it's illegal. You get put away for years. Can't go overseas and be nude on the beach. In Thailand, you get in trouble. You can't go overseas, especially in Thailand, and take a picture of the money and disrespect the money, especially with the king's face on it. You'll go to jail. They could put you away for years. Can't go overseas in some countries and start smoking weed. You'll get in trouble. What is done in your country, especially here in the United States, is not done overseas. You can't go overseas and say, hey, I can do whatever I want. No. That will put you away for a long time overseas. Okay, you don't want to get loose and get in trouble. Okay, so if you're going overseas, you just book that ticket. Don't get loose and don't get in trouble. Because you can't go overseas and do the things that you think works here in America and go overseas and start being wild. Okay? You'll be surprised. One morning you wake up, there'll be someone knocking at your door. And that'll be the police. You can't go overseas and get loose and get wild. You get in trouble. Okay? And for something, another illegal activities that will get you in trouble, and especially places like Thailand, you can't go there and defame the Thai flag. Anything about the royals of Thailand, if you disrespect the king, you disrespect their flag, you disrespect anything about their culture, their food, will get you in trouble. Especially sometimes in the Philippines. If you're in the Philippines as well, you can't go in the Philippines and disrespect the religion. You get in trouble. Okay? There's a little things that people don't know. They go overseas and start misbehaving and start like treating the people like trash. You can't go overseas and think that the people and think that because the people are poor, they're below you. Okay? You can't do that. You can't go overseas and think that you are better just because you hold one of the most powerful passports in the world. Okay? Treat people the way you want to be treated overseas. That's how you get by. Or treat them even much more better than the way they would treat you. Okay? So our character is very important. The way we act have the power to change perspective as we travel. It's not about you being black or white. It's about your character. So you as a traveler, your character speaks a louder volume than the color of your skin. Character speaks louder volume to the color of your skin. So always be in the right character. Always be a person that is willing to learn. Be a person of humility. Okay? So don't go overseas and disrespect people. That's not good. So another don't. Don't forget to check whether if you need any vaccinations. Some countries require that you take the yellow fever vaccination before you go there. A lot of African countries do. So make sure you check your vaccination. It's very important. Another don'ts. Another don'ts would be, let's see. Don't disrespect or criticize the local culture, custom, or tradition, even if it may seem unfamiliar or different to you. I just covered that. So you can't go to those countries and try to impose your views and values on people. Can't do that. Don't disrespect the culture, tradition, or customs as a traveler when you're traveling. Okay? That's a no-no. And you can't go overseas and try to participate in the people's politics. Freedom of speech in some countries is limited. Okay? You can't go over there just because it says it's a democratic state that you're in and start disrespecting the people's leader. That would put you away. If you go over this, one thing I do when I go overseas, I learn to mind my business and stay away from the people's politics. Okay? I don't participate in the politics. I mind my business and focus on what I'm there for. What am I there for? I'm a content creator and I'm there to capture content. I'm not there to replace the president or talk trash about the culture or trash to people. I'm there to love the culture. I'm there to understand the culture, and I'm there to immerse myself in the culture. And through that will give me a better story to tell. But if I'm just there to isolate myself and disrespect the culture and disrespect the government and think my country is better than the country I'm in, then that would give away a false narratives as a content creator. You don't want that. As a travel influencer, you should be there to love, there to care, there to understand. Understanding is the greatest passport as a creator. Because through understanding, that's how your work as a creator becomes real. If you lack understanding, you're just going to tell it from a blind. You're just going to tell stories from a blind spot. Seeking understanding would create a better pastures for you as a content creator. Great content creator create magic when they seek understanding. Okay? Flawed content created create nonsense when they lack understanding. Understanding is very important. Okay? You don't want to go into a country and try to isolate the people. I think the greatest thing that a content creator can do is to tell the people's story through their lens. It's very important to tell people's story through their lens. You can't go there and impose your beliefs and values on the people. Great stories are told through the lens of the people. They're not told from a subjective approach. It's told from an objective approach. That's how you connect. Okay? Let's keep going. The last don'ts on my list. I'll make this one short because I'm running out of time. Don't forget to have a backup plan in case of emergencies, such as knowing the location of the nearest embassy or consulate. It's important. So one thing I do when I'm overseas, when I arrive, I make sure I contact the U.S. Embassy. I usually do this often, and I tell them where my address, the Airbnb of my address, where I'll be staying for this length of time. When I was every time I'm in Asia, I always do this. Okay, it's very important for the U.S. Embassy to know where you're at. So in case of emergency, they can come get you. Okay, because you're a U.S. citizen, you have to let the U.S. Embassy know where you're at. Okay, it's very important. It's just a safety thing. It's not a control thing. So if you're overseas, you're in an Airbnb, you have to let the ambassador know where you're at, your location and your address and your phone number. That way, let's say, God forbid, you're in a country that is going through some kind of demonstration or something like that, and it leads into civil war, right? And they're saying all U.S. citizens must report to the embassy at this day and time, or they're looking for U.S. citizen, right? They will come to find you because you give them your address prior when you got into the country. Okay? When they evacuate citizens from the country, U.S. citizens from the country, if you did not give them your location where you be staying prior, then you're gonna that's how people get left back in countries in time of emergency. So you don't want to be one of those people that get left back in the country in time of emergency. I hope these things help you as you travel. I hope you go and travel, explore the world. Thank you, and God bless.